Good morning, Wendy. How are you?
Oh, I'm great today. How about you?
Doing pretty good, doing pretty good. Super excited to talk to you today. I have been working with you since last March. It's been almost a year. And now I'm even doing your marketing.
Yes.
And it's been such a good experience. I started out with a full astrology reading. Then I took some Akashic courses, and now I'm on your monthly coaching to, just keep improving myself. And it just feels so good to have someone to go to with some solutions with all the stuff that's going on. So I appreciate that. So for the viewers who don't know who you are, can you just tell us a little bit about yourself and what you do?
Well, I'm Wendy Cicchetti, and I'm an international astrologer, and I've been reading charts and helping people with astrological and spiritual coaching now for over 25 years. And I love it. I love what I do.
Well, yeah, thank you, because we love what you do too. It truly, truly helps us all. Anyway, I'm Sherry, and I am Wendy's marketing manager now. And I actually work with people that, do any type of healing of the planet, the mind, the body. So if you would like my information, I'll put that information below in the description. And with that, I just want to say we wanted to hop on. Wendy and I were talking, and she has some really important information about all the energy that's crazy energy that seems to be going on right now. And she has some really good insight. And we thought, hey, let's hop on. We'll do a short video, and we'll try to do more of these short videos as we get energies coming in. We want to provide what those energies are and explain what they mean, and then also give some solutions to those problems rather than just tell you about them.
Right.
So one of the things I know we talked about that we're feeling are these ascension symptoms, which I talked about, and you explained to me that a lot of people are having these ascension symptoms, like I'm getting more ringing in the ears, I'm waking up a lot more at night, been getting heart palpitations sort of coming out of nowhere. Couple weeks ago, I had a thyroid. My thyroid just swelled up out of nowhere. Went through all the tests to find out what was going on. Nothing. So what is this all about? Like, what's going on?
Well, let me give a list of symptoms that seem to be really, at the top of the symptom list. But before I tell you those, I wanted to talk about a client of mine in Frankfurt, Germany. And I just spoke with her this last week, and she was telling me about her classes. She teaches yoga and body movement. And she said, it's like teaching in a cemetery. She said,
Yeah.
my students are just like zombies, like they're asleep. And I thought, oh, wow, that is so interesting. People are on overwhelm. And let me give you a list more than what Sherry did and what she's experienced. And these symptoms tend to be intermittent. It's not like, you're that way 24/7. It's just happening, like the the ringing in the ears, you know, for me, and I'm experiencing all these too. It isn't just everybody else, it's me too. And, maybe 5 or 6 times a day, I'll just get a brief ringing. It'll do that, and then it'll go right away, which is
Mhm.
unusual. It makes you go, what was that? Dizziness,
Yes.
nausea. Okay. Not full time, intermittent. Okay. General malaise or depression, where
Mm.
you just are feeling out of it and you don't know why. Okay. Body aches, pressure and tension in the head, a feeling of being disconnected to the world. I felt this so strongly for about 3 days that, I felt like I was being lifted up out of the third dimension. I couldn't connect to anything in my environment. Even reading a book that I absolutely love, I couldn't connect to it, you know?
Yeah, huge focus issues right now.
Yes, yes, absolutely. And so those are the main core of the symptoms. Okay.
So what's causing all of this? Why are we going through this right now? What does the astrology show us, and how do we how do we navigate this whole thing?
Well, There are several things, four main ones, and then there's some ancillary things. But the first is there are astrological energies that are causing a lot of the problems on the planet. And we're just going to briefly talk about three that are really prevalent right now. One is the Mercury-Pluto conjunction. This has to do with power. You're either feeling powerful or powerless, depending on what's going on in your life. And owning your power is a big thing right now, to be able to say, okay, I'm getting upset and giving my power away to all this stuff, and I just don't want to do it anymore. You got to stop giving your power away to it. But the other thing, Mercury is called the messenger of the gods. And Mercury is giving us information about the disillusion of big business, big government, big religion. All of that stuff is falling apart right in front of us. And Mercury is helping to give us that information and what's going on with the disconnect with governments and so forth. The second one, which is the most powerful one right now, is Venus conjunct Mars. Now, that's huge, and they're exact right now, and they're going to be dancing together for about 3 months. They are at odds with each other. They are opposite energies. Mars is war, aggression, fighting, anger, all of that stuff. Venus is peace, creativity, beauty, and harmony. You see how they're right next to each other? They're just at odds with each other. Now, when this has happened like this in the past, it's a precursor for war. Okay. It just is.
We're hearing a lot about that now,
It's letting us know what's coming. Now, with Venus involved, I think that we'll probably end up before too long in a peace treaty, because that's what Venus is all about, is the peace. But we'll see what happens. There are a lot of things going on that are ramping up, this war with Ukraine. And there's a lot more to it than what meets the eye. We're talking money, resources. There's a lot of stuff involved, and those things will come out eventually. Now, the third aspect that's really powerful is we've had Neptune in Pisces, and I've spoken about this in my other videos. Neptune in Pisces has to do with spiritual awakening. It also has to do with delusion, collective insanity, and the savior complex, which is just do what we say and we'll save you, which we've already seen it doesn't work.
Working.
Right. And so with Jupiter coming in to a conjunction with Neptune, it's going to magnify all of that. Now, if you are ready to evolve, then it's going to help you evolve. It's going to help you wake up, okay, and pay attention. If you're not conscious and you're not ready, then it will strengthen the delusion, strengthen the insanity and the savior complex, okay? And we see a lot of people out there, just waving those flags. If we just do this, we're all going to be better. And it doesn't work. But these people are so entrenched in the delusion, they can't see anything else. So it's very difficult to sit back and judge these people and blame them, because they are not conscious. They're just automatic pilot.
I don't think any of that helps any of us, right? I mean, we neither one of us should be sitting in the judgment and the ego, but should be sitting more in love and just, understanding what each other is going through at different levels of our own journey.
Yeah, exactly. So it's best just to stay neutral. I like the term. You just stay neutral and you just observe, you listen, you watch, and then you see what resonates with your heart. That's the important thing. So those are the three strong aspects going on right now. And those aspects are going to change. They're going to ramp up for the next several months. we can just count on. It's just like stirring a stew, it's just like everything's getting stirred up. The second thing is frequency. Okay. Now, the high frequency coming onto the planet is higher than anything I have experienced in my lifetime. And I'm in my 70s. Okay. We've never experienced anything like this. And it continues to ramp up. Now, you can look online at what's called the Schumann resonance, and that will show you how they are measuring it. But what happens, we're used to this third dimensional crazy reality we've been living, or illusion, whatever you want to call it, and at a certain frequency. But for the last several years, the frequency's been getting higher and higher. And sometimes it takes time for our bodies to adjust to the difference in the frequencies. So that accounts for part of it. It's like we just feel off. We don't feel normal. Okay. And it
So
takes.
you're saying this Schumann resonance that can actually
Measure it.
We have a physical way to measure the energies that are there, and we can see whether they're going up or down based on that resonance.
And they keep going up and up and up and up. And that's part of the ascension of the earth. Now, we live on the earth, so it's part of our ascension too, these frequencies. The earth is conscious. The earth is alive. The universe is conscious. Okay. So these things aren't done randomly. They're done by the universal powers that be to help us ascend, right? They're helping us. It just takes us a while to be able to integrate. And one of the things that's important, that I love about this whole process, and those who are kind of in charge of it, is that they interject it for a period of time, and then things kind of back off a little, allowing us to integrate and get right again and feel right again for a period of time. And then they'll hit us again. And then you use all the same things to get yourself back in alignment with everything, and you're okay for a while. And then they'll do a little more. So it's a gradual increase in our frequency, and in our ability to handle these higher energies. Does that make sense?
Yeah, you can almost feel that. I mean, you have a couple days where, or even a month or so, where you feel so good and you feel light, you feel like you're flowing with the energy. And then all of a sudden you feel this rising of heaviness and tension again. And there's no rhyme or reason for it. And it just sort of comes in, and now you say, well, you just kind of like, okay, I need something to do here to kind of bring myself back into that lightness again. And yeah, that's interesting.
Now, the third thing is the concentration of the world energies. Okay. The third dimensional energies, fear, anxiety, hatred, vitriol, all of that. And it's getting stronger. There's greater polarization. We got the truckers out there, and it's not just in Canada, it's in France, it's in England, it's coming to the United States. People are saying we want freedom, but it's creating greater polarization. Now, all of these third dimensional energies that are low frequency, the fear and hatred and all of that, that is coming into us without our even understanding that. It's a very unconscious thing. It's energy that's all around us. We're breathing it in, right? And so that is causing a lot of the malaise, a lot of the depression, because we're feeling just off. It just doesn't feel right. Okay. So that's contributing to all of these symptoms. And then there's a fourth one, and this is controversial, but I've been watching it. I've been watching it in terms of how it impacts me, and that has to do with 5G. Now, we've been warned by a lot of people about the effects on the human body of 5G. And of course, the powers that be that are making money off of it are saying, oh, come on, that's just conspiracy theory. No, it isn't. It's a much more intense frequency, and it has radiation associated with it, and it creates things like brain fog and tension in the head, pressure in the head. And, I have been watching it. I think it rolled out around the globe 3 to 4 weeks ago. And I've just been watching how I felt. And for a while, I wasn't even thinking about it. And then I'm thinking, wow, I've got brain fog. I can't think clearly. I'm not motivated. What's going on? And then I have to ramp up my practice and spend more time protecting myself with Reiki, with the Ruka de Kucha and Malkuta de Shemaya to bring me back to center. Okay. But all of this requires us, all of this interference requires us to spend more time in practice. Now, there's one other symptom that's happening, and that is more vivid dreaming. If you've experienced vivid dreams, I have so
very
many
much.
people say, oh my gosh, my dreams. And then the other one is remembrances. And this is an interesting one. It's like all of a sudden you'll be thinking about something from your childhood or something from your past. And it's like, why am I thinking about that? And I want you, if you're experiencing this, to think about, oh, was this resolved? Was I forgiven, or did I forgive somebody? Did it end up being coming to a fruition, a positive fruition? And
so if that happens, Wendy, and we start remembering these things, that maybe we can just ask the question, why is this coming up? Is this something that I need to resolve? How do we go about doing that? Is that just in our minds that we do it, or do we physically need to go back and apologize to somebody? Like, what do we do with something like that?
Things in childhood, you just have to look at it and feel how it feels inside. Now, if it's coming up, that's an indication that it isn't resolved. Now, why it's important to resolve all these things, and why we're having these remembrances, because as we ascend into the fifth dimensional frequencies, okay, we don't want any impediments. We don't want any blockages or any snags. And if we've got stuff in our childhood or past, things that we've done or things that were done to us, it's time to forgive them and release them so we don't have the blockages to our ascension. Does that make sense?
Yes, sure.
And it seems like every day something more from my past or childhood comes up, and it's like, oh my gosh, I never realized that could be some kind of a blockage, something that hasn't been handled and resolved.
So that could be, if you think about it, that could be a gift where these blockages may have been there for a very long time. And rather than judging that particular thing that's coming up, we embrace it.
Yeah.
And then we move ourselves through it so that we can remove those blocks that are preventing us from being our higher selves.
Right. Now, I have a forgiveness practice that is phenomenal, and that really helps to forgive yourself and to help other people's, even to forgive yourself in the past.
Can we put that in the description?
Yeah, I'll put that in the link to that. It's one of the best I've ever seen. So yeah, you want to memorize it so it's just flowing with you all the time when you come up with something. Or if you feel like you're doing something stupid, which happens to all of us, it's like, and then you immediately forgive yourself. Okay.
Which is probably very big for a lot of people.
Oh yeah. And now with the energy so chaotic, oh my gosh, we're all responding the best we can, but sometimes it's not very helpful the way we respond. And so we want to be constantly forgiving ourselves for not being perfect. There is no perfect, by the way. That's just a misnomer.
That's for sure. Yeah, I know we've been working through the year, and I learned that forgiveness practice back, I think, over the summer last year. And it's such a good tool when you're feeling triggered by somebody or something, to be able to say, hey, I wish you were perfect. I wish you had done this for me, but I'm going to release you from me expecting you to be perfect, and I'm going to release myself for expecting you to be perfect. And it just sort of diffuses the situation so that you can kind of move beyond it and not let it kind of fester inside of you.
Now, the lady who created this, her name Edith Staffer, she tells the story, and when you click on it to get a copy of it, it tells her story of how she developed it, and it was beautiful. And it was from her own pain that it was born.
That's
So
usually how it happens.
yeah, all of these energies, guys, are coming into us. They're affecting our psyche, they're affecting our physiology. But the most important thing you remember is these are energies coming into you, not from you. Your responsibility is to figure out how to use them wisely, okay? And not go crazy when they happen and start reacting in negative or third dimensional low frequency ways. But they're coming into you, not from you.
That's such an important distinction, because we think that we don't have control sometimes of the things coming into us, but the truth is you have so much power inside of you, right? The light lives within inside of you, and you can choose how to use that light. And those energies coming into you, you can just either intellectualize it or drop into your heart and feel like, okay, this needs to be protected here, and I'm gonna own what is mine, and I'm gonna deflect what is not mine that I don't need to invite in.
Exactly. And so many people, when they start feeling these symptoms, because we're not used to them, we think something's really wrong with us. It's like your situation with the thyroid. Oh my
Yeah.
gosh, something is really wrong with me. You know,
Oh,
I know
100%.
other people who have had the exact same thing, the exact same swelling in the thyroid, and there's nothing there. It's just a symptom for some reason of these energetic shifts. So don't
Right.
get all caught up that something's wrong with you. Go, okay, I just need to handle this with your spiritual
Right.
practice. Yeah.
Well, true. And of course, you go to, I went to the doctor, right? Because it's like, well, I just need to make sure, that this isn't coming from anywhere. But once the blood work comes back and the ultrasound comes back, and then you're like, okay, am I going crazy? Like, why did it all of a sudden, did I have an allergic reaction to something? And you start thinking, and when all else is left on the table, you think to yourself, okay, what am I mentally going through? What are the metaphysical reasons for maybe that thyroid began to come in? Where am I blocked? And then you want to be able to move through that.
Yeah.
But understanding the energies is super important. Now, I do have a question for you, because I'm going to go back to the first one. What was the first one you said? Mercury
conjunct Pluto.
Mercury conjunct Pluto. You talked about powerful versus powerlessness. And I think a lot of people might be going through that right now. Is this, you feel powerful? Where do you feel powerful? Where do you feel powerless? And then you said this is sort of the year where you set your boundaries to begin to get your power back. What are some of the things that people can do to be able to, just a few tools we might be able to use to stay within our own power?
Well, part of it is a recognition that you have given your power away. Now, if you want to know how fast you can give your power away, just have a fly land on your nose and crawl on your face, and you're going crazy. You've given your power away to that fly, when all you really needed to do was just sit and observe. Sometimes I've done this, and just let the fly be there and not lose any power or energy over it, and then you're fine. Or a bee land in your house, you just immediately give away your power. And people are giving away their power to the world conditions. They're angry, somebody says something and you immediately give your power away to that person because you lose control.
Yeah, that's funny. Mine is on the road. So when somebody's cutting you off, or they sort of put you in a dangerous position because they're driving erratically, or they're not paying attention and they're swerving towards your car because they're on their phone. And so immediately, that's my trigger. And it's like, I'm the one sitting here getting angry in the car. And since we've been working together, I said, okay, I'm not going to give my power away to this person, even though they're behaving in a certain way. But I think our intuition right away is to get mad.
Right.
But when you start saying, oh, you're giving that person your power, or in an argument,
Mhm.
where you have to be right, giving that power away to be able to just say, today I'm not going to do that today.
Yeah.
I just need to stay centered within myself, and I'm just going to let it go.
You know, and I'm actually finishing a book now called The Response Factor, which tells you all about the importance of how you respond. And when you start getting all of this stuff welling up, anger, resentment, hatred, whatever, you push it back down. Now, if you want to know how to keep your power, is you learn to pause. And when you pause, then your brain can start coming up with a different, more productive way to respond.
I know several times I've repeated to myself, the power is in the pause. The power is in the pause. And just kind of pausing instead of just immediately being
exploding.
triggered. Yes, which for, as you know, some personalities are easier than others.
Yes, to explode.
I have some fire in my chart, so it's a little harder for me to calm that down.
But
the other thing I wanted to ask you was the Neptune in Pisces. You said spiritual awakening and collective insanity. So maybe just explain a little bit more about the collective insanity, because I think everybody's sort of feeling like, what is going on? Our laws are backwards. Everything seems to be like upside down right now. So that's actually something that's actually going on in the astrology chart.
yes, and of course it affects people individually. There's the microcosm and then the macrocosm. And so it's affecting the globe as well as the individual. But what is important to understand is the Neptunian energy, the Piscean energy, is highly intelligent. And the bad actors on the planet that are profiting off of everything that's been created that's dark and has been hurtful to people, these people know how the mind works. Don't kid yourself. This isn't accidental.
Oh yeah,
They
they're
have worked out in advance everything they need to do to create fear in you, to make you feel like you're going insane, the gaslighting that's going on. And so all of that stuff is very purposeful, what's going on in the planet right now with that. But you have the ability to be able to go to your heart and go, how does this feel to me? Is
right.
this right? Does this feel right? Your heart will always give you the answer. Now, fear screams louder than anything. When you're in fear, you can't feel your heart. All you can hear is the fear. So you got to get rid of the fear, go into faith, go into trust, go into prayer, so that then you can get more clear, more balance, and feel it in your heart. What you're being told, is it the truth or is it a lie? Okay. But because of the what's the right word? Everything that went into creating this pandemic, okay, was not done accidentally. It was created. And so you have to stand back and see, how am I being manipulated? What of my power am I giving away to all of this stuff? But you've got to go down and take, what's the right word? Inventory of what's going on in your head.
Yeah, I have a sign right above in my office here, and it just says observe rather than absorb. And I have to look at it all the time. Yes.
Observe rather than absorb. Beautiful.
Yes.
So, yeah. And we are all expected, if we want to not have to come back to this planet and do it again, we're all expected to master these things, okay? To learn to be able to deflect what our lies and to be able to bring into you the truth. That's something that we all need to work on and master before we die, because I don't want to come and do this again.
Not this way, not what's going on now.
No, not at all. So,
But I think one of the things I think that is also important is that a lot of people are going through this, and there are some people that are, Wendy, very, very stuck and feeling either very lonely or like they're kind of losing their minds, or it's just so heavy that they just feel like it's just beyond what the power that they have within themselves. So I think together we can kind of both say to them, like, it's cyclical.
Yeah.
Just work through it. Don't judge it.
Mhm.
Let come up what needs to come up to the surface
Mhm.
and clean it out. And then we can move on. I always say when I make chicken broth, all the toxins come to the top. All the
Oh,
toxins come
mhm.
to the top.
Yeah.
And I thought about that before, and I thought, wow, this is like life. You have to boil things in order for the bad stuff to rise to the top so you can see it and then take it off the surface. It's just surface level stuff.
Right.
And you have much more power within yourself than you think you do.
And that fear and discomfort creates change. If
Which
you don't
can be
feel
good.
uncomfortable and you don't feel the pain of this and you're not allowing it to help you awaken, then you're stuck.
Yes.
You're completely stuck, and you may have to come back and do it again,
Mhm.
because you're not centering in your heart and your soul. So just pay attention. You're going to get through this. Like my daughter Misty said in our last video, every little thing is going to be all right.
It'll be all right. That was great. Yes.
Yeah.
Wow. Well, that's great. I hope that this video helped a lot of people. What you're feeling is definitely, it's real to you, but also know you have power. And that's why Wendy is here to just continue to remind us of the power we have within ourselves. So if you liked the video, um, please hit the like button. I'm sure Wendy would love you to comment, right, Wendy?
Yes.
Love seeing
And
people.
let me know what other symptoms you may be experiencing. I do read those comments, and that will help me too as I work with other people who come up with something that may be similar to what you're coming up with.
That's great. And we'll put the forgiveness prayer in the link and subscribe. And we're going to be trying to do more of these videos, some shorter videos. Just if something comes up and she calls me and she says, whoa, I think we need to report this. We're going to really try to do that for
Yeah.
everybody. And,
We'll do
and
more of these shorter videos, but I wanted before I end to tell you how you can cope, what you can do.
let's do it.
Okay. Essential oils are wonderful. Get some beautiful organic essential oils. Now, frankincense and myrrh are considered orange oils. Now, if you understand color psychology, orange is the color that absorbs shock and trauma from the body. So, wearing orange will be very helpful to you, like a scarf or a shirt or, something orange, but use those oils and work with that color. Okay. Crystals are highly important to keep around you. As you can see, I have them all around me all the time. This is my favorite one that I keep right here on my desk, and it's a hunk. But this is green calcite, and it's very, very healing. So I like to keep that right by me. In my auric field, you want to keep crystals close to you within your auric field. Here's another one that I use all the time. This is black tourmaline. My husband actually mined this in the tourmaline mine in the San Diego area, and I absolutely love it. And these crystals and other black crystals deflect negativity. They deflect entities even that might be. There's a lot of psychic attack going on right now. So it's important to carry something like this with you. And the bigger, the better. You don't want it to be so huge, but this you can fit in a pocket. You can hold it in your hand. I sometimes tuck it in my pants when I go out. It's been very helpful to me because I often get psychically attacked when I leave the house to go shopping or whatever. And so this has really helped deflect some of that for me. So that's another really good thing. Find what crystals make you feel good, okay, and utilize those. Nature, being in nature is huge. You need to go out in nature. In fact, I was having a meltdown a few days ago. I mean, I was really having a meltdown. And I thought, I've got to get outside. I have to get outside. And fortunately, that day it was about 65 out. And I went and sat on my bench on the front porch and just got quiet and just listened. And then Sherry and I got on a phone call and where we were talking about things. So talking with a supportive person is also very helpful. Someone of like mind. And when I got done with that conversation and sitting outside for about 40 minutes, I felt great. It was over. My overwhelm was over. So do things like that for yourself too. That's very helpful. And then sage and black copal. Sage is a very multi-level healer, okay? It works on all of our levels. But black copal is particularly good at dispelling entities or darkness. Now you can get black copal at theshamansmarket.com, and we'll put that down in the bottom, in the description. But I would get you some black copal. It's a resin, and you can use it with, the charcoal. You can get the charcoal and activated charcoal, and that's really good. The other thing is dance and music. Oh my gosh, dance. Turn on music that excites you and dance. Okay, very, very important. And then the final thing is prayer.
Yes, that's my big thing is
Yeah,
just prayer.
and praying to the God of your understanding. You don't have to pray to this God or that God. There's no, just what resonates with you, what's in your heart. You want to connect with source to get answers. And remember, the higher your frequency goes, okay, the more answers you're going to get because the veil thins. And being able to get answers is much easier in the higher frequencies. So, and sometimes when we get, bombarded with all these symptoms, our frequency goes down. So you got to go into prayer. You got to go into practice. You got to be able to do the things that I have given you to do. And then your frequency will rise again. Okay. Another thing that's very helpful is if you go to YouTube and see the practice Gateways and Passwords to Heaven by Lars Mule. Learn those Aramaic phrases. They are multi-layered and extremely powerful. Ruka de Kucha and Malkuta de Shemaya. Okay.
And Ruka de Kucha means
Holy
kingdom,
Spirit.
Holy Spirit.
And Malkuta de Shemaya means kingdom of heaven.
Kingdom of heaven.
Right. And so I want you to learn those phrases, memorize them, and do the little practice that he teaches you there. I've never experienced more heat in my hands than when doing that practice. And now, of course, those phrases are memorized and I use them all the time to keep me in balance. So that's another really good way to help yourself through these symptoms.
Well, excellent. Well, this was super enlightening. If you like the channel, that would be great. We like you subscribe to the channel, like, comment, do whatever you can, and we'll try to bring you more of these videos and let us know what topics you're interested in and whether or not this was helpful for you.
Okay.
But thank you, Wendy. We appreciate it.
You're sure welcome. Thank you, Sherry. It's been fun.
Welcome. All right. Have a great day.
Thanks. Bye-bye.
Bye.